Roblox flipping tutorial. And today we're going to be looking at properties. So, properties are, first you might end up in studio with like this, with your toolbox open. You need the first thing, actually, it doesn't really involve all of it, is never use free models. But if you do, at least give credit to the person that made it. But don't use too much, because you just don't do that, Just don't use too much. So first, you're gonna have this open, and you want to exit out, because you're not gonna need that. And then you want to go to Explorer and click on Properties. So you should have these two open, and it might actually end up somewhere else, but I like to keep them like this. You can have them however you want. I keep them like this. And then, so the first property that we're going to be looking at is for a part. So basically, all the properties that we're going to be looking at in this tutorial is going to be for a part. So, now, once you have the part, you're going to click on your properties, and these are all the properties. You can have the brick color, and you can have like a texture, you can change the surface. Smooth, no outlines is my favorite. So I suggest using smooth, no outlines, because it doesn't have outlines. Because if you put two bricks together, they usually have outlines, like this. If I, duplicate it and put it on top of each other, they're not going to really have any outlines. It's going to be like, like that. But if I change the properties to smooth, now it's stepping motor. Then, you see that outline. So, now that you learned about that, change this back. There's actually a lot of properties, but I'm just going to go over the part, and you'll learn the other tutorials. So, one property you have is size. So, size, you can do it easier by scaling this down with the Roblox Studio, or you can go to your plugins tab and go manage plugins, and then find plugins, and then once you're there, a lot of people use this. It's called F3X. So by GIDS right here, you can click on it and then install it. Right there, but it's just how you install, not reinstall. And once you have that downloaded, you should restart your studio, and then you click on it, and do whatever you want, like scale it. And increment I recommend is 0.1, and then scale it around with this. There's actually a lot more stuff and tools in here than you can have in Roblox Studio. Really, it's just really easier. So, now you know about that. I really got off topic there. Let's keep going on with the properties. So we have size. So shape, what it does is you can do like cylinder, like that. There's ball and block. Now just made that really huge. So there's pretty nothing to really explain about that. So we can go on to the next one. In custom physical properties. I do not know what that is. You're gonna have to look that up. I've never used it before. Oh, okay. So there it is. Elastic, friction. Oh yeah. So you guys can mess around with that. Right there. I did not notice that. How dense it is, the friction, and all that stuff. I'm not going to really talk about that because that's getting a little bit advanced here. It's more like building. Now, what locked does, if you check it, then, you can't really select the part. You can't select it, And then, once you do that, you're going to have to probably name the part. Like, if you have a lot, then you probably want to name the part, like, hey, or something. And then you can search it, because you really can't select it. and then you can do unlock it, which, you know, makes it selectable. And can collide, what that does, if I uncheck it, then if I click the play button, I should be able to walk through the brick. So when I go, and I forgot. Okay, so while we're at that, I'm gonna go over one property, which is anchored, so I can actually do this. What anchored does is, well, if you check it, then it'll stay in place, like it's not gonna flop around. It'll just probably fly up in the air or something. So it's not gonna be flapping around and stuff. So now that we got that done, it's kind of really no explaining to that. Like, there's really no explaining. We got that done. Can be able to walk through, and it should stay there, which it did. So we should be able to walk through the part, you know, step in it. Actually, make it more noticeable. I think it's hard to notice. We are, see? We are. But you can do really anything you want with the can collide property. If I scale like all the way up, and I click the play button, I still can walk through it. So when I click the play button, it should be like a big tower. Pretty simple. And you can walk up to it, you know, and walk through it. You know, walking through the brick. So that proves that, well, it does what it does. Now that we got that covered, we have velocity. I'm gonna let you mess around with this, cause it's just like, just don't mess around with that. It's really nothing. And I'm gonna say that there's really no explaining for position. You know, moves it around. You know, really nothing to explain with that. You know, moves it around. And rotation, really no explaining. You know, that one. You know, rotate it. You know, see, blah, 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 okay. And then change it back to 0, 0, 0. And position, like I said, name, it's just the name. You know, part or something, you know, just the name. And then what the name is, so it'll show up in Explorer. And transparency, 0.5 makes a little bit you can see through, 0.9, and you can still see through 8. And you can also mess with it over here to make it more, know how you want it, you know. Really also no explaining for transparency. Reflectance, we really don't know how to explain this, you know. Try to explain as much well, there's really no explaining. Reflect, you know. You have to have this, I think, I really don't use it that much, but I think you have to have like this up, not like a transparency or something. I don't really know, like, you guys probably won't be needing that. And then, well, like I said, we start off with brick color. More, you know, and actually, I wanted to say that there's a variety of materials that you pick from. There's concrete, cobble, current metal, like there's really a lot you can pick from. There's diamond plate, which I think actually looks pretty good with this color. So that's really the end of this tutorial, because there really wasn't much explaining to do.